Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We'll now proceed to the press conference with Police General Debold and Sinas, Chief Philippine National Police. Please all rise for the invocation, and I would like to request Police Brigadier General Jason Ortizo, Director of the Chaplain Service.
Let us bow our heads and recognize the holy presence of the Lord. Let us pray. God of mercy and compassion, and the source of all good things, we thank you for your generosity and kindness, and ask you to bless each and every one of us as we gather today together with the PNP Press Corps and friends from the media. Full of gratitude, we commend ourselves to your most compassionate heart for the abundance of your blessings. May we all experience the sacred manifestation of the Holy Spirit to bestow us the grace of responsible journalism and fair news coverage. Finally, we beg you, dear Lord, to deliver the entire PNP organization and the leadership from all forms of dangers and harms, especially to our beloved Chief PNP, General Debold M. Sinas, and the members of the command group, and let your perpetual blessings enjoin us to vote in as one Team PNP for the betterment of the entire organization and the legacy of our service. In your most mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, let us hear the press statement. The Chief of the Philippine National Police, Police General Debold M. Sinas.
To our friends from the media and the members of the PNP Press Corps, welcome to our weekly press conference. Joining me in this conference is our DCA, General Gilor Elizar, the Chief of the ASCOF here. I have also here our TCDS, General Jojo Veracruz. Nandito po rin yung Director for Operations natin in case you would like to ask the preparations for these coming holidays. We have also the Director for the Investigation and Detective Management, General Marnie Marcos. We have here the Director of Police Community Relations, General Rodel Sermonia. We have our Director for Logistics, Police General Lito Casimiro, who will discuss on the latest equipment acquisitions and distributions. Lito. Then we have the Director of Health Service, who will discuss on the newly inaugurated Camp Krami Kiangan Emergency Treatment Facilities that we have inaugurated this morning at 9:30 a.m. We have also here General Steve Ludan that will on Crime Lab if you have questions. And we have here also the Director of SOCIA, the newly promoted, I forgot his name, Sydney Villaflor. And joining us later is yung Chief ng Firearms and Explosive Office, si General Mitra, and online joining us is the Police Regional Office or the Provincial Directors of Police Regional Office 7. If you have questions on the two incidents there, one is in Cebu City involving the female lawyer, and the other one is Negros involving the husband and wife doctors in Hinolgan City. So hopefully they could give you, and we'll be discussing also the latest accomplishments we have on the recovery of 40 kilos of shabu and the killing of the 4 suspects. Okay? So yun po. So let's start. Next slide. So this is the sequence of our presentations. Next slide. For our crime statistics, Now, shown is the comparative 8 focus crimes from January 1 to December 17, 2019 versus 2020. If you could see, there's no changes as of our last report. Last week, it has still, the total crime volume for 8 focus crime has a decrease of 39.88% pa rin po. No? So, that trend is the same. We have still an increase in our crime solution efficiency and crime clearance efficiency. Next slide. So this is still the trend of the two. So you will see the red colored line is 2020 and the same po, mababa pa po siya compared to the data in 2019. But if you will see, dahan-dahan na po umakat yung crime incidents po natin, pero hindi pa po siya bumalik sa dating level na nasa 5,000 po. Next slide. Ito po yung 8 focus crimes, lahat po decrease. Next slide. Next slide. So the same, yung crime solution efficiency natin. Next slide. So this is the weekly monitoring of the 8 focus crimes. So mapansin nyo, hindi masyado nagbabago yung trend natin. Next slide. The same with our total crime volume trend ng 2019 and 2020. Makita nyo naman. So ganun po. Ito yung total crime volume ha. Ito na yung non-index and non-index crime. So, next slide. So, ito, the same pa rin po yung assessment po namin. So, we have already in place preventive measures, na mga police interventions. We have just sustained it, and we have sustained our different operations po. We have also some assess na since tumataas po yung crimes against property natin, so it could be attributed on the unemployment at saka yung sa pandemic po natin. Yan po talaga ang nangyari. So these are our assessment for this report. Next slide. So these are also the donations that we have given to the stakeholders at yung mga na-receive ng ibang units namin galing-galing sa ibang concerned NGOs, organizations that assess us, that help us during the pandemic. Next slide. So dito, Police Region Office 3 ng PPO, ang beneficiary po nila ay yung taga Pro 3, yung mga personnel nila, binibigyan po nila ng mga goods. Nandyan po yan. Next slide. Ito naman po, diba? Ang donor is Upsly para sa mga personnel po natin to. No? Nagbigay po sila ng LED solar torchlight para po sa mga INUP ng Catanduanes PPO. Sa Pro 5 po yan. Next slide. Ito naman po ang mayor po ng lugar sa Leyte. So nagbigay po ng bigas para po sa distribution po sa tao namin at sa mga civilians. Next slide. Ito naman po ay sa Police Regional Office 11. Ito po yung mga nagbibigay, yung office ng mayor, ang LGU. So nagbibigay po sila ng iba-ibang items, kagaya ng computer, pack meals, shields, rice. Ito po yung photos ng binigay. Kung napansin nyo, ang mga recipient po dito sa Police Regional Office 11 ay mga estasyon po natin. Okay? Next slide. Sa health service naman, yan po yung dinonate, galing po sa mga stakeholders natin, kasama po ang Upsly, ang PCSO, dito po nagbigay ng mga gamit para po sa mga facilities po natin. Yan po ang action photo po dyan. Next slide. Ito naman yung Pro Cordillera, no? Ito yung mga donors po niyan. So, binibigay po yan doon sa kanila para po makatulong sa mga tao natin. Particularly, yung shields, yung alcohol, at saka yung mga gloves at face mask. Also, yan ang mga action photo po. Next. Sa LSS naman, next slide. Yan. Yan po yung natanggap nilang mga gamit, no? Yan po, galing po sa Island Pacific Supermart. You know, goodies po yan. Estimated amount is 1 million. Ito po, nireceive po yan ng LSS at item will be ipadala po doon yan sa Cagayan. So, ang LSS will be repacking it as relief goods. Ipadala po yan sa Police Regional Office 2 para po matulungan yung mga kababayan natin doon sa Cagayan. Next slide. Yung PGen po natin. Ang DHRDD personnel ay nag-donate po ng mga used clothing, sleepers, used bags, lahat po yan. Ngayon, naka-stock lang po yan ng PGen. They will select kung ano po yung pwedeng ipamigay at ipamigay po namin yan doon sa mga naapektuhan ng calamities. So all in all, yun po yung mga list of donations from as of December 12, no? Yun po yung natanggap namin. So, would like to thanks all of the donors sa amin, mga benefactors po namin, na sana tuloy-tuloy po ang pagtulong nyo dito sa mga pulis natin. At kung gusto nyo na ipadaan sa pulis yung mga donations nyo doon sa mga may kalamidad, at dahil meron naman kaming mga personnel at saka sasakyan na mag-deliver, we are very willing to assist them para po mapadali po ang transport at saka distribution ng relief goods sa mga lugar na apektuhan po ng calamity. Next slide. Ito naman po yung list po namin ng iba't ibang operations po namin na ang mga suspect po ay mga corrupt cops and other erring personnel. First is ito po, yung nahuli po ng IMEG. No? So kung makikita mo rito, na-entrap po to si Police Staff Sergeant Carlo Marsaba Sison. Now, ngayon, nandyan po siya sa Taguig City, and in case is filed against him for robbery and extortions. Okay? Meron na rin po siyang admin case at meron na rin yung firearms po niya ay na-recovered na at meron na pong automatic issuance ng leave of absence habang naka-detain po siya sa custodial facilities ng Taguig City Police. Pangalawa, ito naman yung nahuli ng CIDG nung in-entrap yung dalawang police na nag-involve sa robbery extortion dito po sa may Albay nung last December 15. No? Ito po silang dalawa, yung nakita niyo sa picture, si Police Staff Sergeant Gerald Capos at saka Police Staff Sergeant Hernan Molasgo. They were already disarmed of their firearms. Case has been filed against them. Criminal case, admin case ay inumpisa na po. At ngayon ay naka-automatic leave of absence po sila para po maputol po yung sweldo po nila. Kasi yun po ang standard po namin. Ito naman, meron kaming dalawang pulis na na-involve doon sa may Benguet. No? Ito sa IMEG din, for filing of criminal at administrative case, si Corporal Brian Mataan at si Patrolman Abel Sokaren. Entrapment operations din po to ng IMEG. Ganun po yan. So ngayon, they are custody ng Regional Personnel Hold'em and Accounting Section ng Cordillera at pending po yung investigation sa kanila. Okay. Ito naman, yung nag-viral na double murder case involving Police Staff Sergeant Jonel Nuesca. Siya po ay na-assign sa crime lab. Ito po yung sa may Paniki, Tarlac. So, ito yung mga video na kinuha po namin na nag-viral. Siya po ngayon ay nag-surrender sa Paniki MPS at under police custody. We are now readying the criminal case for double murder and admin case po niya. Now, accordingly, on our initial background, ito pala yung away nila ay kung lumang away na tungkol sa lupa. No, pag-uwi niya doon, nag-aaway na yung mga pamilya na gano'n. So, hindi namin alam kung anong nag-trigger, kung bakit niya binaril yung kalaban nila. However, according sa Paniki Chief of Police, after the incident, he surrendered together with the firearms. So, ngayon, ang Director of Crime Lab ay nandyan po at nag-umpisa na po sila mag-imbestiga doon ng admin case para po ma-dismiss na rin siya. At sa ngayon, naka-automatic leave of absence na rin siya para po maputol po yung kanya. Now, investigation is ongoing, so ang nag-take cognizance po ng kaso ay yung Chief of Police ng Paniki MPS at okay naman po yung investigation nila. We have directed the Provincial Director of Tarlac PPO to supervise the case properly. Another person, ito naman po ay nahuli noong December 10, no? Ito po ay sa Davao International Airport, bagong lieutenant po, no? Pumunta ng Davao, dala-dala po niya ay fake RT-PCR, no? Nung na-inspect doon kasi may code yun, lumabas na iba ang may-ari ng RT-PCR, yung kaklase niya. So ang ginawa niya, according sa investigation, pinalitan niya yung pangalan. Pinalitan yung pangalan, umuwi siya doon sa Davao. Ayaw niya ata magpa-RT-PCR. Yung mga kasamahan natin doon na na-assign, nung tiningnan yung result ng RT-PCR niya, doon nalaman na fake. So, yun po, falsification of public documents ang pinail po natin sa kanya. At for administrative case ay ongoing na po. Taga-crime lab po ito na-assign, no? Bagong police po, no? We'll be readying also ng sa kanya grave misconduct and dishonesty po. And we will see to it na hindi po siya pamarisan. Kasi bagong-bagong tiniente pa lang, ganito na po ang ugali niya. No? So, I will personally check sa lahat ng mga pulis na to that they will be dismissed and they will be dismissed in the service kung napatutuhanan ang mga offense po nila. Yun po yung nangyari dyan. Okay? So, yun po yung mga latest na mga personnel namin involved in the different activities, different malfeasance at another irregularities. Next slide. Ito naman po, ito yung tinanong dati ni Juan, ni kasamang Alfred, yung mga nag-positive ng random drug test. Sa ngayon, ito po yung total namin. Next slide. 46 po, from January 1 to December 18. 46, nandiyan na po, NHQ, NCRPO, lahat nakahimay na po. No? 46. Yan na po ang kanyan. As to the status of the case, ay tinanong na po namin, ang IAS on the case nito. Kung ilan na po yung na-recommend for dismissal at ilan na po yung ongoing po out of the 46 na kuan. Now, dito naman, ipapakita namin next, ito yung mga latest na ng drug test. Itong 5 SAP personnel, nag-positive po to last December 4, 2020 na drug test sa training center. So, medyo na-delayed ang labas because kino-confirm pa po namin. At itong drug test na to ay nangyari sa training center ng SAF. So ibig sabihin, yung 5 patrolman yan, sabay-sabay po yan na nahuli. No? Now, we are checking kung magkaklase ba to sila. So ongoing po yung assessment and namin dito because nakapagmangha na at one test, one group, 5 po kaagad yung nag-positive. And taga-SAPA po. No? Yun naman sa taas, ito yung latest na nahuli po ng NCRPO na positive. So yung pinakalas na nahuli, ni-report ko na, yan naman po. Ngayon, meron na namang bago na nahuli sila. No? Kung mapansin nyo, hindi pa po ito na ibigay ng total doon sa grand total kasi nauna yung grand total na binigay before the result of the confirmatory lumabas. So kung magtatanong kayo kung anong nangyari sa lahat na personnel na yan, ay disarmed na po yan sila, assign na po yan sila back to the regional or the holding group ng iba't ibang opisina at ongoing yung investigations nila. And also for these sub-personnel, we are now conducting assessment interview on what really happened at bakit 5 patrolman kaagad ang nag-positive. Next slide. So, this one, ito po yung accomplishment po nangyari kaninang umaga at 5:35 a.m. Next slide. Diba? At the C6 Road, Barangay Napindan, Taguig City. Ang mga suspect po ay identified as a certain Christopher Ocarol, Alan Catalan, and 2 other unidentified male personalities. Yan po yun yung mga identified po natin. Next slide. Okay. Background ng mga namatay ay ito po yung dugtong, kung naalala nyo, yung nakahuli kami ng 21, tapos minahuli kaming another 5 sa Cavite. Ito po yung dugtong. So, nadugtong natin at nalaman natin na yung tong 2 suspect ay mga drug lords, drug distributor ng Visayas po to as early as 2000 pa po. Ngayon, nung nahuli na po namin yung grupo nila, sila na po ang nag-take over. At ang contact po nila ay nandyan pa rin po sa National Bilibid. Surprisingly, itong 2 na na-identified ay may dating mga cases na to. No? Pero yung mga case nila, after conviction, ay na-release. Kaya nung pagka-release nila, bumalik na naman po sila sa pagtatrabaho. This time, according to our follow-up, hindi na po sila nag-stay ng Central Visayas. Nandito na po sila sa Maynila. Naging tuloy because of what? Na-detain sila sa National Bilibid Prison, naka-establish sila ng contact sa mga facilitator doon sa loob. Kaya ngayon, naging sila mismo ang mga naging big-time distributor na rin sila ng drugs, ng shabu, between Manila and doon sa Cebu. No? Yun po ang nangyari nila. Tapos nagtatambay sila, nakatira sila sa iba't ibang exclusive na mga hotels para mahirap masundan po. So maybe they were set up by our people na nagbebenta sila ng 40 kilos of shabu. Now, we expend much of this monitoring kasi nung na-set up to, mga at least almost 2 months din to na-set up after nahuli yung Cavite. So, medyo naglal ulit kasi pinalo up, ito na po. May follow-up operations pa po kami. Hinahanap na namin ngayon kung saan yung warehouse nila. So, hopefully, with the follow-up operations, we could now determine kung saan talaga ang warehouse o saan bumabagsak yung shabu. So, next slide. Next slide. Now, ito po yung na-recover, no? Ayan, isang 40 kilos of it, no? Yan po ang samples, naka-picture po dyan. At by bus money, mayroong M16, mayroong isang mga handgun na 9mm, 45 caliber and 38. No, nandyan. At yung sinakyan nila na Pajero na mayroong temporary plate number. No, ganun po. So we recovered at least 40 kilos of shabu with a DDB value of 272 million pesos. Yan po ang nangyari kaninang madaling araw. This is a joint operations of PNP DEG and NCRPO. So yun po yan. Okay? Next slide. Yan po yung mga recovery, mga photos po natin. At habang dinodocument po ng SOCO team po ng Taguig Police Stations. Yan po. Lahat po na ito ay ito-turn over sa Crime Lab for further investigations. Next slide. Yan po yung sasakyan, yan po yung mga suspect. Next slide. Okay, assessment. According to our operatives at saka background check, ito pong apat na to ay dati silang may contact sa mga high profile na PDLs, no? Sa BGMP at saka sa Bucor. Thereby they were able to maintain contacts ng mga Chinese nandoon who give them access para makapag-order po. Now we are trying na kung masundan pa namin lahat itong mga network na to, ay tuluyan na po naming at least maski isang network na ma-stop yung flow ng drugs from Metro Manila to Central Visayas. Kasi lumalabas ngayon na ang Central Visayas ang isa sa pinakamalaking market outside Metro Manila. So nakatutok po kami sa flow na yan. Hindi po namin binibitawan yan. Kaya mapansin nyo, dugtong-dugtong po yung operations. Next slide. Okay. Now, let's go to the other accomplishments or incidents. Next slide. Okay. Okay. Now, I'll be requesting the Director for Operations, si General Alfred Corpus, on the PNP's preparations for the holidays. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. To our Chief PNP, General Debold, Sinas, and the distinguished members of the command group present in front, our friends from media, other officers present, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. With COVID-19 still around and with the expectation that our kababayans, the Filipinos, will continue to celebrate the Yuletide season despite prohibitions and with the assumption that threat groups will take advantage of this, particularly the CPP, NPA, and DF, who will be celebrating its 52nd founding anniversary on December 26. Your PNP made the following security preparations. Okay? On Simbang Gabi, of course, we instructed our unit commanders down to the chiefs of police to coordinate with our different church leaders, to make sure that the health protocols and guidelines are observed during Misa de Gallos. We have also directed our unit leaders to increase their deployment, especially the social distance patrollers in churches and areas of convergence. In addition to this, we have created red teams from all levels of our structure here in the national headquarters, the different regions, down to the provincial level and the municipal levels. The purpose of which is to validate yung situations in the respective area of operations. Tinitignan nila yung binabalidate nila yung deployment ng ating mga tao, kung tama ba ito, at kung tinitignan rin nila kung saan sila pwedeng tumulong at i-advise yung ating mga chiefs of police at different unit commanders as to where they should deploy their respective resources. Next slide. Now, we also expect that the populace will go to the malls, because the tradition is that during Christmas we give gifts to our loved ones. Also, we should ensure that the malls observe the protocol set forth by the IATF. And so, we have worked closely with the LGUs and the other stakeholders so that they can help us. Deploy their force multipliers like the barangay tanods and security guards in the mall areas and other places of convergence. Of course, kasama dito yung paggamit natin ng social massive information drive in the different barangays and areas of convergence, including the use of social media platforms. Next slide. We have also directed the CSG SOSIA. The director is with us this morning, the newly promoted Brigadier General Sidney Villaflor, to conduct post-to-post inspections sa different security guards of the malls and of course other business establishments, because they are the guards are really the ones who will implement this the protocol set forth by the IATF. Yung ating mga kapulisan will just be there to support them, because alam niyo naman po, manipis ang ating kapulisan, so we do not have enough personnel to really man the critical areas of these converging places. So we need to make use of all the stakeholders, including the security guards, to help us. We have also requested the LGUs to rescue the IPs loitering, begging and caroling on the streets. Right now, kung makikita siguro ninyo yung kalsada, medyo malinis tayo ng konti, this is because of this directive that the unit commanders must coordinate with the LGUs to ensure that walang masyadong or wala na naglilipana or nagkakalat na mga IPs na humihingi ng tulong or abuloy sa mga ganitong panahon. Nakikita kasi natin sila pagka darating ang Pasko, bumababa sila sa kanilang residence or kung saan man sila nanggaling para mamalimos dito sa ating sa EDSA particularly. So right now, medyo wala tayong nakikita because of this directive. Okay. Relatedly, of course, we expect that the revelry will continue and firecrackers and use of pyrotechnics will be allowed. But previous, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we heard the President saying that he might suggest or order the total ban of the use of these firecrackers. We're still awaiting for this, but habang wala pa po ito, our units down to the regions and to the provincial to the provincial and municipal level, we're directed to strictly enforce RA 7183. No? This is the act regulating the sale, manufacture, and distribution and use of firecrackers and other pyrotechnic devices. No? And they were also directed to engage the LGU to enforce Executive Order number 28, which is to for the LGUs to designate fireworks display zones in the respective areas. Meron pong mga parameters wherein which you can designate in an area para maging fireworks display zones, ano? And this is embodied in RA 91783. Alam po ng mga kapulisan natin, especially the chiefs of police and the provincial directors kung ano itong mga to. And we have directed them to strictly follow them. Dito po sa NCRPO, inireport ng ating regional director, si Brigadier General Vic Danao, no, that they have an Regional Peace and Order Council last December 15, and the Metro Manila mayors agreed that to recommend the banning of the use of firecrackers in National Capital Region with resolution number 19-2020. So dito po sa NCR, they all agreed that the use of firecrackers will be totally banned. Okay. Over the weekend, the JTBCB Shield conducted inspection to assess the situation on the ground. Our DCO, Lieutenant General Cesar Hawthorne Binag, who is also the COVID Shield Commander, and myself, who is the Deputy COVID Shield Commander, naghati po kami ng inspection over the weekend. He went around the DCO, or General Binag, went around the northern part of Metro Manila, and I went around the southern part of Metro Manila. And well, we've seen there are areas of concern and challenges. And this includes, next slide, of course, yung continuing challenge natin dun sa Divisoria, no? That is why, with our recommendation, the CPNP approved the deployment of one company of the Special Action Force to Manila Police District to help enforce the protocols in to help Manila Police District enforce the protocols in the Divisoria area. Okay, so with regard to the 52nd CPP anniversary, we have issued, the President declared that there will be no SOPO, suspension of operations against the CPP NPA this year. And so we have issued directives to our lower units to press on with the offensives. And of course, prepare themselves for possible attacks from this enemy of the state. Next slide. That's all. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, ang magpe-present is Sydney. Yung magpe-present po yung SOSYA po natin on matters pertaining this security. Go ahead, Sydney. Go next.
To our Chief Philippine National Police, Police General Debold, Sinas, sir. Members of the command group and directorial staff, other senior officers, fellow officers, our guests from the media, visitors, and all who are present here, a pleasant good morning to you. I will go direct to the point, sir. As shown in the presentation is the scope of my presentation. Next slide. Next. Photo shows the meeting and online conference with the mall security managers on May 19, 2020. Nung palang pong May ay nagpe-prepare na po ang PNP, ang Directorate for Operations, as well as the Civil Security Group and SOSIA. At ipinatawag po namin ang mga mall managers for us to discuss and for them to know the IATF protocol and guidelines kung paano po mag-ooperate ang mga malls, kung paano po nila susundin ang IATF protocols. Likewise, the DTI Memorandum Circular number 20-21, known as the Guidelines on the Operation of Malls and Media Centers, was also discussed. Next. To ensure that the security mall managers and private security operators are religiously implementing the IATF guidelines with regards to the health and standard protocols, the social personnel under my supervision are regularly conducting red teaming operations. Red teaming po, talagang ang definition po ng red team ay maghanap ng fault, maghanap ng mga violations ng mga guidelines. So, chinecheck po namin yung mga security guards, mga security operators, kung religiously ini-implement nila yung na-relay sa kanila na IATF guidelines na dapat din ay pinai-implement ng mga mall managers. From December 5 to yesterday, there were a total of 55 operations, red team operations. 125 malls were inspected, 691 security guard posts were inspected, and 968 security guards were likewise inspected. Next slide, please. Ito po yung pag-i-implement ng ating red team members at ang mga tinitingnan po nila ay ito po, pakilista lang po. Dapat merong foot bath o foot disinfection mat sa mga entrances ng mga malls. Dapat merong mga hand sanitizers. Dapat lahat po ng kliyente o ng customer ay kinukunan ng body temperature. Dapat ino-observe nila ang physical distancing or at least 1 meter apart. Dapat po magkahiwalay ang entrance at exit ng mga malls. Hindi po pwede yung under the normal setup na iisa yung sa isang side ng mall, magkatabi yung entrance at exit. Dapat magkahiwalay. Dapat po may mga sa mga conspicuous places ng malls may nakalagay na signages ng no face mask, no face shield, no entry. Dapat po pinapatay ang Wi-Fi. Bakit po patay ang Wi-Fi? Para ma-discourage yung mga kliyente o mga customers na hindi magtagal doon sa loob ng mall. And relatedly, dapat yung air conditioning system ay nakaset sa 26 degrees centigrade only. Hindi po dapat malamig para nga po ma-discourage din yung mga mall goers na magtagal doon sa loob ng mall. Next slide. On the update of the processing of LESP and LTO during the periodic pandemic, dahil po nagkaroon ng lockdown, nagkaroon po ng maikling suspension of frontline services ang CRAME at ito po ay nagtuloy noong July 1. So may mga applicants po kaming nabinbin ang kanilang mga applications. Pero shown on the screen, ito po yung statistics na aming ginawa. That despite po na may pandemic, despite po na nagkaroon ng skeleton force, ay tuloy-tuloy din po ang aming processing ng LESP at LTO. Next slide. So nagkaroon po ng Memorandum Advisory Ligtas Paskuhan 2020. At ito po yung mga advisories na pinalabas namin para sa mga security guard at mga security officers. Dapat po maging alerto sila dahil hindi po maiwasan na kahit po may pandemic ay madadagsa ang mga tao sa malls. Dapat po dapat alam nila yung location at contact number ng nearest police station para po pag mayroong problema, makatawag po sila kaagad ng mga pulis galing sa pinakamalapit na police unit. So this ends my presentation. Marami pong salamat at magandang umaga po sa atin lahat.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Let us hear the updates from the Firearms and Explosive Office by General Mitra.
To our CPNP, sir, General Debold and Sinas, sir. Good morning. The members of the command group, senior officers, friends from the media, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Next. The order of presentation will be the result of the ongoing inspection of firecrackers, fireworks display, manufacturers, dealers, warehouses, and stores on the occasion of Yuletide celebrations. And the other one is the policies on illegal discharge of firearms. Next. So the EPO CSG team personally carried the memo, pre-guidance of our on the use of authorized fireworks to NCRPO to ensure that the CPNP's directive and the Memorandum Order 31 be implemented in compliance to the Iwas Paputok Campaign 2020. Next. This is the joint advisory of the CSG and the EPO. This is with regards to the temporary issuance of permit with regards to major event or organized fireworks display. For these activities will encourage the convergence of people. So we have to issue a temporary stop in the issuance of permit. Those permits that are already issued, it will be valid. For the information of the media, we have issued 6 permits before the instruction of our CPNP. So these permits are on December 19 at Gateway Tower, Araneta Center, December 25, December 26, then on January 1, 2021, December 24, 2020 at Rockwell Power Plant, December 31 also at Rockwell, December 31 at Sofitel Philippine Plaza, Ross Boulevard. Ito lang po yung before the directive ang na-issuehan natin ng permit as regards to fireworks display. Next. So our EPO team conducted the inspection and inspection of the different warehouses and storage of our firecrackers manufacturers and dealers. Next. Ito na po, nasabi ko na po ito kanina, yung mga na-issue natin ng permit. Next. So yung pong mga firecrackers na tulad po ng Solar Harvest, we have inspected their office and coordinated with the staff and officers of the Solar Harvest as regards to the memo directive of our CPNP. Next. Ito po yung it was personally seen by our CPNP, yung pong fireworks display sa MOA last December 12. So nagkaroon po kami ng investigation. Kanina pong umaga, nagpadala po ng explanation yung harvest, yung solar harvest as regards to the fireworks display. Ang kanila pong explanation, yun pong kanilang ginamit na fireworks display sa MOA is categorized as fireworks class 3. Meaning, yung pong class 3, kahit sino po pwede nang magpaputok noon at no need na po ng permit ng FEO. However, kung ang gagamitin po nila ay class 4 fireworks display, meaning kailangan na po ng expert dahil delikado po yun. Kailangan na po ang mag-ooperate noon ay may lisensya. So yung po nangyari sa MOA on December 12, mga class 3 fireworks lang po ang kanilang pinaputok. Next. Yung po mga inspection doon naman po sa Diamond Fireworks Incorporated. This was last December 18, 2020 at Santa Maria, Bulacan. Next. Pegasus Fireworks located at Barangay Pulong, Bukawe, Mag-asawang Sapa, Santa Maria, Bulacan on December 18 also. So yung pong ating conduct of inspection has already started and it will end up to hanggang January 1 po, kung saan yung ating pong mga dealers and manufacturers, from time to time po, nandyan po yung ating inspection team para tignan kung sumusunod sila sa mga requirements and guidelines ng CSG FEO. Next. Next, please. So, this is on the policies on illegal discharge of firearms. Under Article 155 of our RPC, under Article 254, under RA 10591 and RIRR, and NAPOLCOM Memo Circular 2016-002. Next. So, on Article 155 of RPC, Para 1, Article 155, alarm and scandal po. Any person who within any town or public place shall discharge any firearm, rocket, firecracker, or other explosives calculated to cause alarm or danger. Next. Next, please. Article 254, discharging of firearms. Any person who shall shoot at another with any firearm shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional in its minimum and medium periods, unless the facts of the case are such that the act can be held to constitute frustrated or attempted parricide, murder, homicide, or any other crime for which a higher penalty is prescribed by any of the articles of this code. Next. RA 10591 and HIRRR. For a civilian citizen, Section 39 of RA 10591, ground for revocation, cancellation, suspension of license or permit, commission of a crime or offense involving the firearm, ammunition or major parts, or pendency of a criminal case involving the firearm, ammunition, or major parts thereof. So the LTAF and the firearms license will be cancelled or revoked or suspended. Next. For uniformed personnel, PNP, para A, Section 1, Rule 6, Conduct of Motu Proprio Investigation of IAS. This is under NAPOLCOM Memo Circular 2016-002. Incidents where police personnel discharge a firearm. Next. I have here a hard copy. It will be distributed to our friends from the media. The list of prohibited firecrackers and pyrotechnic devices. Included here is the Watusi, Piccolo, the Plapla, Thunder, atomic bomb. So I will distribute it after my presentation. That's all, sir, and good morning.
Thank you very much, FEO. Let us now hear from the update on the ask of Task Force Commander, our DCA, General Gilor Elisar, sir, for your part.
Thank you, sir. Magandang umaga po sa atin lahat. After the briefing of our Chief PNP, I asked him, sabi ko, Sir, mukhang hindi mo na isama yung sa presentation mo yung update ng COVID-19. Tapos sabi niya, nga no, wala dito. Sabi ko, tama-tama naman sir, kasi wala akong nasasabi dahil sinasabi mo na lahat. Kaya mas maganda nga na ako na lang mag-brief niyan. However, on this particular day, wala akong presentation. But sa mga susunod na nating mga press con, sasadyain niya na hindi na babanggitin yun at it will be discussed by me para may sabihin din ako sa inyo. Anyway, you were given on a daily basis from PIO some of the information that we have. Ayan, tama-tama pala, nandiyan na. So, this is the update as of last night, as of 6 p.m. This is prepared actually by Health Service. Next slide, please. So, as of last night, we have a total of 8,718 cases. And so far, ang active case natin is 355. Yung recoveries for yesterday is 69. So, umabot na siya sa 8,336. For several days or weeks, napako pa rin tayo sa 27. The cases reported yesterday was 16. Kaya nga umabot na siya sa 8,718. Actually, you were given update on this by PIO on daily basis. Next slide, please. Now from here, we can see all those who are affected by COVID-19, a total of 11,607, broken down into the confirmed cases of 8,718. Ang breakdown is kanina. At nadagdag pa dito ngayon, itong probable natin 949, suspected 885, at itong ating minomonitor based on our contact tracing na 1,055 na close contacts ng mga nag-positive recently. Next slide. Ito naman po yung mga out of the 8,718, ito yung percentage breakdown. 85% for those who have recovered, 4% for active case, at 0.31% for death. Next slide. If you're going to break this down by NHQ, NSU, and PRO, makikita natin dito, ito yon 322 sa NHQ, 2,453 sa NSU at 5,943 sa PRO. Yung percentage po dito, yung 3.96, that is the 8,718 out of 220. At the percentage dito ngayon na makikita 0.14, that is 220. Mas maganda siguro na i-present natin ito sa susunod na ilan ba yung percentage noong nag-positive sa NHQ. Ilalagay din natin dyan kung ilan yung strength ng nasa NHQ, strength ng NSU at strength ng PRO para malaman din natin kung ilan ba ang affected doon sa category nila. Siguro makikita natin na mas marami sa NHQ. Probably because ang NHQ is more or less nasa Metro Manila tayo. So yun yung ipakita natin na sa susunod, itong breakdown, nitong 220,000 na strength na ito sa NHQ, NSU at sa PRO at percentage correspondingly. Next slide, please. The same manner, this is the breakdown of 355 active cases. Ilalagay din natin dyan yung strength nitong mga categories ito para alam din natin. Kasi kung titingnan natin, 172 pinakamarami sa PRO. Pero kasi, ang strength natin talaga nasa PRO. For all you know, sa NSQ, 76 lang. 76 out of 355, pero kukunti lang or 10,000 lang yung nasa NSQ. So probably, mas marami ang active case natin by percentage na nasa NSQ rather than PROs for the reason na ang NSQ ay nasa Metro Manila. Next slide, please. We have 12 police personnel in the hospital and 343 naman sa quarantine facility out of those who are in active cases. Next slide. The same manner for the recovered cases, this is the breakdown of the 8,336. Next slide, please. The 27 death, 1 from NSQ, 12 from NSUs, and 14 from PROs. Next slide. The new cases, the 60 new cases yesterday, 3 PCOs and 13 PNCOs. Next slide. And out of we have a total of 76,207 personnel who have been subjected to PCR test. But merong iba dyan na multiple ang test na. And this is 34.63% of the 220. Kung makikita natin last week, if I can remember it right, 32% yung aming ni-report. So may nadagdag na. Yun kasi ang target natin. And ito ngayon distribution. Ilalagay din natin sa susunod, itong distribution ito based on strength. Ilang percentage na ba ang na-subject sa test doon sa nasa NSQ? Ilan na rin yung nasa NSU at ilan rin na PROs. And in addition to that, we will be presenting to you also our focused aggressive testing, which is CRAMI-based, around 38,000. 10,000 dito na nasa loob ng CRAMI, around 23,400 itong assigned sa NCRPO, at around 4,500 naman itong mga nasa NSU, nasa labas ng CRAMI, para nasa loob ng NCR. For all you know, makikita natin doon na talagang ang target kasi ng ating CPNP is for those who are assigned in Metro Manila na 100% na natin sila na naandito. Sa ngayon kasi, next slide please. Makita naman natin sa mga next slide natin. Ito yung distribution ngayon ng those who have been tested is 35%, 76%, and 65% naman, 140,000, itong hindi pa na PCR test. Next slide. On the daily monitoring, since we started our testing for our PNP personnel until December 13, a total of 74,000 have been tested. There are 8,578 na nag-positive for positivity rate of 11.58%. At makita natin sa mga susunod na huling 4 na araw, makita po natin yung data natin dyan. At ang positivity rate nagre-range siya from 5% up to 16%. And mapansin din natin na lately, na-reach na natin yung target natin na more than 300 na testing compared with 100 before the aggressive testing nung wala pa ang ating CPNP dito sa Camp Crame. At because of this aggressive testing, marami tayong mga na-address na mga factors kung kaya't na-improve natin at na-reach na natin yung ating target na more than 300. Next slide. So this slide actually is the graphical representation of what I was shown earlier. So makita natin dito, itong blue bar, the number of PCR conducted, and the red bar is the positive result. At naandyan na rin yung ating positivity rate, ranging from 3% na umaabot sa 16% on a certain day, with an average of 11.58%. Next slide. Well, for those who are assigned in NHQ, makita natin dito na nasa 65% na ang ating mga personnel na assigned sa sa national headquarters na na-test na natin. This compared with 60, ito yung percentage na reach na natin siya for NHQ. At you can see from there, merong 100% na, but there are some units na hindi pa naabot yun. Ang ating target is bago natin ikutin lahat yan, mag 100% na muna tayo dito sa Metro Manila dahil itong epicenter natin at the same time na andito ang ating molecular laboratories. Next slide, please. For NSU, 66% ang ating na-test na sa kanila compared with, well, almost the same, 66%, now 64% ang ating nasabik na sa testing. Next slide. And for PROs, the percentage is 27.9% for those who have been tested already. Next slide. Well, for Kiangan, the Director of Health Service will be presenting after me the Kiangan COVID-19 Emergency Treatment Facility. But before I let the Director of Health Service for presentation, because of this aggressive testing, nakita natin na marami na talaga yung nagpa-positive. Kasi mas maraming natetest, magdara positive. Kaya ang ating focus ngayon is for more effective contact tracing. Ito pong ating mga contact tracing officer, particularly the admin officer here in NHQ and the station health unit ng ating mga iba't ibang station, dadagdagan pa natin ang kanilang kaalaman para mas maging effective sila para maiwasan natin ang pagkalat ng virus at mas natin itong pag-spread nito. So, with that, I will give you Police Brigadier General Noli Bathan for him to discuss to you the Kiangan COVID-19 Emergency Treatment Facility, which was just blessed this morning by our Chief Chaplain with our CPNP. Noli, please.
Thank you very much, sir, for the detailed presentation of the COVID-19 updates. Of course, sa ating CPNP, sir, and other senior officers here, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, isang magandang umaga pong muli. For our Kiangan COVID-19 Emergency Treatment Facility, bigyan ko kayo ng konting background. This is the 3-story building designed for billeting facility. Ito yung dating billeting facility na naging quarantine facility ng mga COVID patients. Now, converted to an emergency treatment facility for COVID-19 cases, accommodating PNP personnel with difficulty of breathing or those with shortness of breath. Ito po yung mga PNP personnel natin na positive case sa COVID, and then hindi naman karakaraka may tatakbo natin ito sa mga COVID hospital. So while waiting for that hour, dahil ipipila po natin yan, dito muna sila sa ating Kiangan COVID-19 Emergency Treatment Facility. Ano pa ang capability ng ating treatment facility? Of course, ito po ay mayroong 55 beds for patients with oxygen. Practically, hindi lang po ito 65, kaya lang yung ibang room will be utilized by our health workers. May washroom siya, may doffing area. Mamaya may mga pictures po siya dyan na ipapakita tayo. May laundry area, of course, with washing machines para yung gustong maglaba doon na mga patient natin na PNP, pwede na nilang labahan yung kanilang damit. Triage area for close contacts. We are very particular with these people kasi may kailangan din po kasi hindi yung kinonfirm lang, hindi yung na RT-PCR test lang na positive ang i-quarantine namin. Bagkos pati po yung mga may close contact ay ikinu-quarantine din po namin. Of course, the triage area for confirmed cases and the holding area before transfer to other quarantine facilities. Ano ba ang other capabilities? We have 6 doctors po na dedicated personnel, 54 nurses, 36 other allied health workers, and 6 ambulance drivers. All in all, 102 personnel divided into 3 teams. Ganyan po ang aming preparasyon. Capabilities. Of course, nandiyan po yung mga nurse station. May nurse station kami. May TV yan, monitoring capability through CCTV. May PA system, internet connectivity para hindi naman masyadong mainip yung ating mga pasyente. And of course, our quartering for the medical staff and molecular laboratory analysts. Kasi po, may mga workers po tayo, may mga health workers tayo na nag-a-analyze sa molecular lab natin, dyan din po natin i-house. Of course, sa mga, sana naman ay huwag dumami ang ating mga patients, they will be given these health kits. Yung po ang aming health kits, thermometer, may mga vitamins na yan, alcohol, toothbrush, and toothpaste of course, may bath soap, face mask, medicine container cup, and of course, face towel. Okay. Kanina nga po, nabanggit ng ating DCA, si General Lesar, na na-bless na po natin yung ating treatment facility dito sa loob ng Camp Crame with our ambassador from heaven, si Father Jason, at saka ang ating Chief PNP. And as shown, next slide. Ayan na. Nag-ribbon cutting. Next slide. Chinecheck namin ni Chief PNP yung mga health kits. Next. Kung mapapansin nyo, yan yung entrance para may ma-figure out nyo ang ating treatment facility. Next slide. The buffer zone. Transition area from the contaminated area. Hindi po kasi pwedeng halo-halo yan. So, kailangan may clean, may buffer zone, and then meron dirty area. Next. Our treatment room. Nakita niyo po yung ating mga hospital beds ready to cater the needs of our patients. Next. Acute area care. Ito po, the monitoring area of unstable patients until they become stable. Next. Our nurse station. Sa loob na po ito ng Kiangan. Next. Patient's room. Ayan. No less than our Chief PNP, chinecheck niya kaninang isa-isa kung talagang okay ba yung ating mga patient's room. Next. Yan po ang makikita natin sa loob ng mga patient's room. Next. Dining area sa labas po yan. Next. Inside ng dining area. Next. Doffing. Next. Inside. Ayan ang ating doffing area. Next. Ito po yung ating triage area for the close contacts. Next. Ayan po ang loob ng ating triage area for the close contacts. Next. Entrance for confirmed cases. Next. Yan po ang doon sa may swimming pool. Pinapakita rin po namin. Diyan na po ang triage ng ating confirmed cases. Next slide. Okay. So mapapansin nyo, may mga tent po kami inilagay dyan. At meron din po dito sa labas. Next. Entrance. Next. Ito po yung aming quarters for our health staff. Next. Next slide. Thank you and magandang umaga po muli.
Thank you, Director Health Service. And the next presenter, yung mga latest acquisition and plans of the PNP, yung year-end po namin on our logistics, ay nandito po si General Angelito Casimiro, the Director for Logistics.
To our CPNP, sir, to the members of the command group, to the members of the directorial staff, to our friends from the media and other directors of the National Support Unit. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. What I will present is the status of the procurement, next slide, of our Capability Enhancement Program 2019, Capability Enhancement Program 2020, and yung special smart policing po natin, and updates on the infrastructure projects. So we'll go directly to B, the status of procurement. This is the Capability Enhancement Program of the year 2019 and 2020, B. Slide B. Please move to slide B. Status of procurement. Okay, thank you. For CEP 2019, a total of 27 items that were procured, the 25 items of which were delivered, 2 items still for delivery. And yung balances po ng 2019, kapag mababa po yung bid nila, nasi-save natin yung money, nagkakaroon sa ng second cycle and also third cycle. Another 8 items are procured with a total of 906,048,158. These are 2 items that were delivered, 3 items for delivery, 1 for termination, and 2 items were reverted for the COVID. So ito po yung rundown niya for mobility. Next slide. Meron pong highlight. Pakibalik doon sa 20. Please click 2019. Okay, thank you. For mobility, the brand new utility trucks, the 34 were already delivered and paid. For the high-speed tactical watercraft, 22 were already delivered and paid. 17 went to the PNP Maritime Group, 3 po sa Special Action Force, and 2 for the Seaborne of Zamboanga City. For the Mark pickup, 95 were already delivered and paid. For the motorcycle, 125cc, 581 units delivered and paid. For the single-engine turbine helicopters, the 3 were already delivered, and we will do the field testing and evaluation, which we already did. And the training of the pilots will be done January of 2021, after which the 10 pilots are going to be checked out by Airbus. And ito po, kukuha sila ng CAAP license as commercial pilots. Pag natapos po yun, they can now fly the 7 H125 po natin na mga choppers. And this will be deployed according to the chief dito po sa new area police command natin sa Northern Luzon, Southern Luzon, Visayas, Eastern Mindanao, and Western Mindanao. For the EOD patrol vehicles, 21 were delivered and paid. For the firearms, balik po kayo sa main. For the firearms, the 10,001 was delivered and paid. For the basic assault rifle po natin, the 5,767 pieces were delivered and paid. For the heavy machine gun 50 caliber, 28 units still awaiting for the amendment of the contract kasi po hindi po kami makalipad papuntang China for the pre-delivery inspection. So magmo-modify po kami ng testing. For the 7.62, it was delivered and paid. Communication. For the HF SSB Manpack radios, ito po yung 200 units, it was delivered and paid. For the high-frequency SSB base radio, 400 units delivered and paid. For the VHF VHF low band handheld radio. Ito po yung radio na ginagamit po ng AFP. So ito po yung for interoperability namin for tactical operation. 397 delivered and paid. For digital handheld radio, the 4,640 were delivered and paid. For digital mobile radio, the 2,553 delivered and paid. For the IPPBX, ito po yung communication namin sa loob ng krame. It was delivered and for payment. Ito po yung IPPBX communication within National Capital Region. It was delivered and paid po. For investigative equipment, the document examination machine, 3 po ito, delivered and paid. Generic DNA analyzer, 1 unit, delivered and paid. For the gas chromatograph mass spectrometer, 8 units delivered and paid. For the field investigator crime scene kit, 1,067 units delivered and paid. The rapid portable DNA analyzer, 3 units delivered and paid. For ISO equipment, these are the tactical vest level 3A with 2 upgraded plates level 4. Hindi po ito tinatalaban ng armor piercing 7.62 and 5.56. The 8,800 delivered and for field testing evaluation. The undershirt vest level 3A for pistols po ito. The 7,743 are delivered and paid. For the enhanced combat helmet, we are awaiting for the amendment of the test contract kasi babaguhin din po yung mode of testing. For the rotary blade propelled wing unmanned aerial vehicle, ito po yung 51 units delivered and paid. And the robots, the EOD robots, 3 units delivered and paid. Ito po yung balances ng 2019. If we do the procurement, because of the public bidding, nagda-dive po yung mga proponent, nakakasave po tayo ng pera. And yung second cycle ng pera, third cycle ng pera, ito po yung nagiging resulta. For the procurement of pistols, we are going to forfeit the performance band of joint venture Atlantis and Samsung York amounting to 1,496,658 for non-delivery. Likewise, we were able to procure 82 Toyota Otis delivered by Toyota Otis. Ito po yung back-to-back. And it was delivered and paid. For the 9mm striker pistol, 8,001 units. The performance band was updated and the testing will be done. For the 5.56 basic assault rifle na 4,498, it was already delivered and paid. For the VHF handheld radio from Scanmarine na 64, it was delivered and paid. For CEP, yung pong tactical vest level 3A with 2 upgradable plates, we are awaiting for the delivery and it was extended until December 30, 2020. For the 2 helmets po na procurement, kasi nahirapan po sila sa testing. So the 194,641,000, wala pong nag-bid dito. So we volunteered it to be reverted for COVID-19 requirement po. Next, this is for the procurement of 2020. We have 7 items that were delivered, 4 items for delivery. 2 items are ongoing po dito sa government-to-government procurement. The 13,457 with MTAN, the 5.56 basic assault rifle, and the 20 units of the 7.62 light machine gun with IWI of Israel. And 1 item from ProfNec, ito po yung 10 high-speed tactical watercraft that were awarded to ProfMec Corporation. And 1 item for termination din po ng contract. And for mobility, the 355 back-to-back po natin ng 4x2 were already delivered and paid. The light transport vehicle unmarked na 50 delivered and paid for this year. Shuttle bus, delivered by Hino Balintawak, 11 units, they were delivered and paid. For the high-speed tactical watercraft, ito po yung we just awarded to PropMech. And heavy motorcycle, 90 units for highway patrol, delivered and paid. For firepower, the 50 caliber machine gun, ito po yung imamount natin sa speedboats. 10 units, we are awaiting for the amendment of the contract because we need to do the modified pre-delivery inspection. Hindi po kami makatravel sa China. The 9mm striker firearm, the performance band of the joint venture Atlantis Group and Samsung Yort, yung producer po ng Canix, will be forfeited in the amount of 1,581,294. And also, the company is going to be blacklisted for any government procurement for 1 year sa buong gobyerno po natin. For the 556 na 13,457, we are going to schedule the signing of the contract po with the Israel Ministry of Defense. Likewise, the 7.62 light machine gun, ito po yung ginawa ng IWI, 20 units. Also, together for the signing of the government-to-government procurement po. For ISO, we have the 594 tactical vest level 3A with 2 upgraded plates, and we are awaiting for the letter to be approved for the extension because of the testing. Undershirt vest level 3A, also 3,106, also awaiting for the approval of the request for extension for the testing and modification of the contract. Autogated night vision, the 620 units. Likewise, because of the pandemia, we also have to amend the contract, and also do a different modified pre-delivery inspection because we cannot travel abroad po. On the communication equipment, the VHF low-band handheld radio of 150 units for this year were delivered and paid. The digital trunk radio system, DTRS, 2 units delivered and paid. The digital handheld radios, the 434, was delivered and paid. Also would like to inform you that the smart policing special release to the PNP, this is the Intel component po of the smart policing, wherein 1,082,000,000 pesos magdue po for December 31, 2020. I'd like to inform everyone that TSG IT Advanced System Limited of Israel won, and we are going to schedule the signing together with the first 2 G2G po natin. For the infrastructure project, these are the projects ongoing inside Camp Crame. Next. The construction of the multipurpose building, actually po yung parking, and bakit po tinawag na multipurpose? Because yung first floor po maging concessionaires, para dun po tayo pwedeng bumili ng pagkain, and there will also be function rooms dun po sa taas. And all the floors will be fitted with the driver's room, comfort room, na air condition. It's already 88.2% completion. It's amounting to 267,896,083.56. And the fund and bidded was done by DPWH po. Next is on the construction of the WCPC Phase 1. And it came from Argaa 2018. It's 87.15% completion. This is the 20,879,695 na fund po binigay sa amin. Next, these are the quartering facilities from DPWH. It's 58.26% completion. 1 condo is for the junior officers po namin, and 1 condo will be given to the regional directors and area commanders. Next is the internal affairs funded by DPWH and also bidded by DPWH. It's 95.39% completion. Next is on the ACG po natin, the Anti-Cybercrime Group, which is funded by ARGA at 2019, amounting to 98 million. It's 21% completion. Next is on the CSG building, DPWH fund. It's 37.40%. We are going to construct also a warehouse po sa FEO natin to professionalize po yung warehouses natin. On the ongoing project in Camp Panopio, ito po yung future medical plaza natin. We already did the phase 1, which is amounting to 78,289,457.21, and it's 70% completed. And we just saved the money, which is 634 million. Ito po yung phase 2, foundation po ng hospital. And the money will be due December 31, 2020. And initially po yung lowest calculated bidder who bidded 548,268,140 pesos is M. Brocal Builders Incorporated, who is undergoing post-qualification. And hopefully po before December 31, we'll be able to obligate the money and award it. Because by next year po, phase 3 is 1,147,830,405. Kaya napaka-critical po ng phase 2 kasi walang papatungan itong phase 3 pag hindi po namin nabigay itong phase 2. So, that's all, sir, for the Directorate for Logistics, sir. Thank you,
Lito, do you have presentation yung inaugurations and blessing ng Area Police Command Building in Pagadian?
Hindi namin na-include, sir.
Okay, see you next time.
Next time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, General Casimiro. Now we will hear the presentation of the RD Pro 7 on 2 incidents in Cebu and in Negros Oriental. So, operator, please already inform Pro 7 if he's already available for his presentation. He will brief via Zoom. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. To our beloved and very energetic CPNP, Police General Debold Sinas, sir, to the distinguished members of the command group, other officers, friends from the media, a pleasant good noon. Please allow me to give an update on the case of between Sancillian and Dr. Mary Rose Inisan Sancillian that transpired on December 15, 2020 at the Carmenville Subdivision, Barangay Poblacion, Lihogan City, Negros Oriental. This is the aerial view from the Google map wherein the crime scene is located at Carmenville Subdivision, Barangay Poblacion, Lihogan City, Negros Oriental, about 1 kilometer from the city health unit of Lihogan City. So the sequence of my presentation, first is the background and the chronology of events, activation of SIPD Sancillian, processing the crime scene and recovered pieces of evidence, possible suspects and motive of the case. First is the background of Dr. Mary Rose Inisan Sancillian. Mary Rose, born in Lihogan City, Negros Oriental on September 3, 1959, married to Edwin Canapit Sancillian, and a resident of Carmenville Subdivision, Bateria, Barangay Poblacion, Lihogan City, Negros Oriental. Doctor of Medicine at the Cebu Institute of Medicine from 1983 to 1984, appointed as Medical Officer 3 at Governor William Villegas Memorial Hospital, Lihogan City, from 1996 to 2000. Medical Officer, Provincial Health Office, Pakuan Primary Hospital, La Libertad, Negros Oriental, from 2000 to 2007. City Health Physician of Ginulgan, from March 2007 to August 2017. City Health Officer of Ginulgan City from September 2017 to present. Head of the Gihorgan City Interagency Task Force Against Emerging Infectious Disease. Also an active member of Secular Franciscan Order. Affiliation of Dr. Sansilan, Sir under enumerated to wit. Sir under enumerated to wit, as discussed in the previous report, it was established that the said victim was then a scholar of Franciscan missionary, an institution known for having inclination to the left-leaning group until she earned her degree as medical doctor. Based on the information gathered from Provincial Director of Negros Oriental PPO, revealed that she had done medical attention and therapies by treating the wounded communist terrorist groups who engaged in an armed encounter with the government troops. An active member of Secular Franciscan Order, a non-governmental organization based in La Libertad, Negros Oriental. Background of her husband, Edwin Canapit Sansilan, 52 years old, date of birth September 28, 1968, born from Manapla, Negros Occidental, and a resident of Carmenville Subdivision, Bateria, Barangay Poblacion, Gihorgan City, Negros Oriental. He earned a vocational course at Don Bosco Technical Institute, Victoria City, Negros Occidental. He was a job order employee as laborer at Gihorgan Satellite Skills Development Center from July 2001 to March 2017. Became a casual employee of same office from April 2017 to present. Affiliation. Edwin Sansilan was reportedly a former rape fighter in the area of Negros Occidental, specifically in the Himamaylan. He is known by the code name Commander of the Leonardo Panaligan Command, Negros Island. Allegedly, he is the eyes and ears of the CTGs in the area. Chronology of events. On December 15, 2020, at about 4:58 p.m., victims Dr. Mary Rose Sansilan was picked up by her husband, Edwin, in front of the City Health Unit and boarded the motorcycle driven by her husband, passing the National Highway on their way home in Carmenville Subdivision, Sitio Bateria, Poblacion, Gihorgan City, Negros Oriental. At about 5:03 p.m., while the victims slowing down on the hump 100 meters from the National Highway, suddenly unidentified suspects shoot the victims using a non-caliber of the firearms, hitting different parts of their body, which caused both to crash and fall on the pavement, and suspects immediately fled to unknown direction. At about 5:15 p.m. of same date, the Gihorgan City Police Station received a cell phone call from the concerned citizen relative to the incident. The personnel of the station immediately responded to the incident. At 5:20 p.m., upon arrival at the crime scene, they saw the victims bathed with blood lying on the pavement. Then immediately cordoned off the crime scene and investigation was conducted, and subsequently they informed the COP of 6 station. Investigators recovered 14 fired case cartridge of caliber 45, 1 slug of same caliber, and 1 deformed slug of unknown caliber. At 5:22 p.m., immediately the victims were brought to Governor William Villegas Memorial Hospital for medical treatment, but were declared dead on arrival by the attending physician, Dr. Alin T. Go. On December 16, 8 p.m., COP of Gihorngan City Police Station immediately requested for the creation of Special Investigation Task Group Sansilan. At 9:30 a.m., members of the station SITG Sansilan coordinated with the LGU for the review of the CCTV footages. At about 4 p.m., investigator on case together with chief investigator conducted follow-up investigation and interviewed some residents of the subdivision for possible identification of the suspects. At 9 p.m., COP of Gihorngan City Police Station conducted case conference together with the personnel relative to the death of the suspects. On December 17 and 19, 2020, case conference were conducted, presided by Police Colonel Brian B. Debold, Provincial Director of Negros Oriental PPO, duly attended by CIDG and other law enforcement units for the case build-up. The group discussed the following: to retrieve the victim's cell phones, messages, or files, to follow up the results of post-mortem examination, review of the CCTV footages, conduct interview and gather more information to the victim's family and office co-workers, request for cross-matching examination on the recovered pieces of evidence, request for post-mortem examination, request for cross-matching, review of CCTV footages, next slide. The composition of SITG Sansilan, headed by the Provincial Director of Negros PPO, with the DRDO as the supervisor, as shown. Processing the crime scene and recovered pieces of evidence. Investigators of Gihorngan Police Station recovered 14 case cartridges of caliber 45, 1 slug of same caliber, and 1 deformed slug of unknown caliber. Possible motives and suspects of the case. Suspects unidentified 2 male persons, most probably belong to Central Negros 1 under Leonardo Panaligan Command, with the area of operation in the areas of Gihorngan City, Canlaon City, La Libertad, Valle Hermoso of Negros Oriental, and Isabela of Negros Occidental. For the possible motive, work-related. Okay, ipakita mo na yung work-related. Yan. As yun, the extract blatter, based on the police blatter recorded in Gihorngan City Police Station dated June 9, 2020, the victim received death threats from her fellow doctor, Dr. Sami Riconalla. Further, some of her co-workers didn't like her management style, being the head of the local IATF on COVID-19. The suspect sent her a message through her mobile cellular phone stated, which I quote, "Istika, kasuhan taka overuse of authority," that on April 20 at City Gymnasium, the suspect uttered threatening words against her as per information of Mary Ann Gardavis, a city health officer in Gihorngan City. Ako pwede man ko makabayad, sohol o mupatay. Hate na ko si doktora. That the suspect was having grudges to her regarding their working relationship, especially with the intent of the suspect to violate the ECQ protocols. Another, the affidavit executed by Dr. Sansilan, wherein on November 12, 2017, as stated in her affidavit, I was informed by my nurse that list was thrown on the streets accusing me as alias Gigi Regalado. The accusation came from Group Kaguba. That I do not have any idea why the Group Kaguba linked me as the NPE or an NPE supporter. That I vehemently denied their accusations and considered them as not true and baseless. That the affidavit was made with the intention to clear my name and sincerely ask protection to the police. So maybe this caused the CTGs to get hurt or got angry with her, considering that they disown their organization. Okay. So that's all for the calls that update so far, sir.
No.
So,
Thank you, Rudy. Just stand by. Baka may question sa'yo. So stand by and tingnan natin kung may question. So we'll ask may presentation ka General Marcos. Wala na. So with that, that ends our presentation. And if any you have questions, you may now forward it. Then ask for a specific office kung sino po ang sasagot. Thank you.
may I proceed to the Attorney Oli, sir? Mindanao City, sir.
Control 7, could you answer it?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I may proceed to the case of Attorney Maria Bibi Concepcion Landero Oli, who was dead on December 17, 2020 in Danao City, Cebu. Attorney Oli, a practicing lawyer based in Danao City, was gunned down while driving a white Nissan Navara pickup with plate number GAC 6971 on December 17, 2020 at around 2:50 p.m. at National Road, Quarry, Barangay Loob, Danao City. The said incident happened after attending her court duty at RTC Branch 25, Danao City, while driving towards the south direction. According to eyewitnesses, the gunman, who apparently was the backrider wearing a red-orange jacket, helmet, and face mask, was on board Yamaha Mio with an orange front cover and fender, and with white sidings, while the driver was wearing a black garment. The suspects allegedly Overtook the victim's vehicle and fired several shots, hitting the victim on the head and neck. Attorney Oli was immediately brought to Provincial Hospital in Danao City for treatment. Unfortunately, she was declared dead on arrival by her attending physician, Dr. Pimpaya Pamilan. Next. Okay, next. Next slide. So, persons of interest, both wearing jacket and helmet, vehicles involved, Hyundai Starex van with plate number AAU 337 and with conduction number NL 4893. However, upon verification from LTO, non-existing. Then another motorcycle, plate number 3017-DK. It was registered at the National Capital Region. Personnel of the Danao CPS reviewed all CCTV footages mounted close to the relevant areas to trace the movement of both vehicles from the victim and the suspects from her entering the population area. to her arrival at the Palace of Justice in Danao and her subsequent departure thereat. CCTV footages revealed persons of interest and vehicles that could have been involved and may have been used in the commission of the crime. Based on the footages, as concurred by eyewitnesses, there were 2 motorcycles and 1 Hyundai Starex van with plate number, as I mentioned a while ago, and the victim's vehicle. Upon verification with concerned agencies, the plate number was found to be non-existent. On the other hand, one of the motorcycle's plate number was registered at the National Capital Region. Background of investigation. Conducted on the victims revealed that her husband, late husband, Juanito Flores Oli, aka Linlin, was also gunned down last May 26, 2020 by still unidentified suspects. Her husband was an ex-convict from National Bilibid Prison who was convicted with violations of RA 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Sometime July 2020, after the incident involving her husband, Attorney Maria Bibi Concepcion Landero Oli revealed to the investigators that a drug personality from the NBP who became an acquaintance and co-inmate of her late husband while the latter was still in NBP wanted free legal services of Attorney Oli for his annulment case. Attorney Oli narrated to the investigator back then that a certain Kangra threatened her that she will likely experience the same fate of a certain Attorney Bohols who was killed in Mandawi City if she refuses to heed his request. Information obtained further revealed that this personality had linked with the recent 1 kilo drug by bus operation in Consolacion, Cebu. The crime scene, responding team from the PNP SOCO were able to find 5 empty cartridges believed to be coming from caliber 45 and 1 unit Samsung cellular phone owned by the victim. The victim's vehicle and all other pieces of evidence recovered were submitted to the PNP Crime Laboratory and RACO 7 respectively for analysis and technical. Interview with the immediate relatives of the victim on December 18, 2020, Deputy Chief of Police, Police Captain Roberto T. Hugo, together with some personnel, visited the house of the victim and was able to talk and communicate with the immediate relatives of the victim. Accordingly, the father, brother, and her companions in the house can pinpoint a responsible person because the victim is very secretive with regards to her work and life, personal life. The composition of SITG Oli, led by its Provincial Director, Police Colonel Aladin Collado, with the DRDO, Police Colonel Roderick Minong as the supervisor. On December 19, 2020, the SITG Oli has been activated by the CCPO to synchronize all efforts and further enhance the investigation being undertaken by the different PNP units. On December 2020 at about 7:30 a.m., SITG Oli convened its first case conference at CPPO conference room, presided by the SITG Commander, Police Colonel Aladin Collado, PD CPPO. The group discussed the recorded CCTV footages, victims' financial status, backtracking of cases handled by the victim, motive of the case, may it be work-related, personal in nature, or it has a relation to on the death of her husband. Investigators and other investigating units were advised to gather more substantial evidence that would establish the identity of the suspect, and it shall be presented on the next case conference. This office, through SITG only, is continuously exerting efforts to the possible identification and immediate arrest of the suspects. So far, that's all for the SITG only update, sir. Thank you very much and good afternoon once again, sir.
Thank you very much, Ronnie. I think yan na talaga ang pinaka-last. No?
Yes.
Let's start now. We're now ready to answer any additional inquiry from our friends from the media. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. The first two suit questions will come from Aaron Recuenco from Manila Bulletin, sir.
Hello sir, good afternoon. Sir, napanood niyo na sir yung video nung sa Paniki Tarlac? So, what was your reaction sir? Kasi as a chief PNP, kasi yung because the incident triggered an anger dun sa social media and anti-police sentiments, especially may mga commentaries that revive yung mga allegations before against the PNP on human rights violations. So, what was your reaction, sir? And ano yung measures on the measures, sir, na nabanggit nyo na kanina. So, dun lang, sir. So, what was your reaction upon seeing the video, sir?
Okay. First, when I saw the video, we were, of course, angry. Well, of course, angry and saddened that our policeman has committed such crime. Ano? That's why we are now consulting with our psychiatric doctors here dito sa Camp Crame kung ano ang effect noon. Because the background, umuwi yung pulis natin, pagdating doon nakita niya na nag-away na yung pamilya niya versus doon sa kabila. So biglang siyang nag-init na ulo, that's why ganun nangyari. So we are trying to study why it happens na very sudden, and good thing is nag-surrender yung pulis natin sa Rosales MPS, no? In turn, the Rosales MPS nag-turn over sa Paniki Tarlac. So I think when I discussed with our new psychiatrist, we might have also a new study on anger management of our people. Kasi kumbaga, okay naman siguro siya kasi nasa crime lab siya na-assign eh. He was assigned in crime lab and he's more on, not in the kumbaga support aspect siya. Siguro, hindi niya na-manage yung anger niya. Kaya niya nagawa yun. So, of course, as the commander, we're very angry and saddened. That's why we issue directive to our unit commanders to please remind our people to hold their anger in any situation para po hindi po mangyari ang the same incident po.
Sir, you also mentioned about the distribution of illegal drugs apparently from the inmates of the New Bilibid prisons. Yung kanina sa encounter sa Taguig and before, meron din mga nakumpiska mga droga na nagdi-distribute din sa Mindanao. But based on your intel, sir, intel ng PNP, when it comes sa supply, yung dati pa rin po ba na it is illegally transported to the Philippines through sa customs, yung dati yung naging issue, or parang yung dati na dinadrop lang sa dagat and then some of their local cohorts would pick them up?
We are coordinating with PDEA, no, because of the series of apprehensions na nagawa po namin kung saan po galing tong droga sa ngayon. Because after ng mga nahuli namin, we're tracking, so we're not too sure yet kung galing ba to sa airport kasi alam mo naman, after the pandemic, may restriction po ng movement. No? May restriction po movement. So we conferred with our PDEA counterpart because I think they have more network and knowledge yung source from the outside, no? So wala pa po silang definite na binigay sa amin. So we're coordinating, assist them, determining where the source might be. Sa aming assessment, baka old stocks pa rin to. These are the old stocks na hino-hoard nila dati because of the pandemic, no? Tapos baka naubusan ng pera ng mga to at nag-expand kasi nawala nga yung parang kasama nila na nahuli namin na nagtatransport sa Cebu, ay kaya sila napilitang maglabas ng stocks. Well, it's not yet definite anyway until such time that PDEA give us a clear picture kung meron bang pumasok na droga galing sa labas. We still maintain and agreed with PDEA na as of now, wala po kaming na-monitored na any shabu lab in our country. Okay? Kung meron man, baka yun lang yung nagre-repack, nagre-reprocess, pero wala po kaming na-monitor na nagmamanufacture ng shabu dito sa bansa natin as of now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Ms. Leia Ilagan of UNTV, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
We
sir.
request that because of the relatively big number of the PRESCO members, we limit the questions to 3, and then we'll just have another round if necessary. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, based po dun sa initial investigation ng PNP, meron po bang previous cases si Police Senior Master Sergeant Nuesca?
Yung sa Parañaque,
Yes, sir.
yeah, meron siyang previous cases na kuha. Meron siya, pero karamihan doon ay na dismiss na at na serve na niya yung penalty. So we discussed it with the RD doon sa kanya. May mga previous cases siya, no? In 2019, meron siyang grave misconduct, okay? But that was dismissed, okay? On that was May. On December 2019 ulit, another grave misconduct, dismissed din ulit. Okay? So, meron siyang na non-appearance in court duties, dismissed din. That is 2016. On 2014, meron siyang yung lace grave. No? Lace grave, nagkuhan siya ng 31 days suspension. Pero 2014 pa yon. 2013, another less grave, drop and close. So, isa lang yung, meron siyang imbestigahan siya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Isa lang yung case na natuloy at nasuspend siya ng 31 days. The rest ay drop and close based on the record submitted with me by the RD Pro 3.
Sir, ano po yung kaso niya doon sa dalawang naunang grave misconduct?
Galing. Okay. Ang case niya doon, which was being investigated by the IAS, is homicide. Okay? The latest case niya was committed on December 29, 2019, homicide. The first homicide case niya is May 9, 2019. Lahat po to ay puro po case dismissed po to lahat, no? Because of lack of evidence and witnesses to pursue the admin cases. So more or less ang criminal din ay wala rin na i-file against sa kanya.
So, sir, anong panuntunan mo, sir, sa mga pulis na may mga kinakaharap na mga kaso? Dapat ba relieve muna sila habang may mga kaso o ipapareview mo po ba yung may mga pulis na tulad niyan, homicide pala yung mga dati niyang kaso at marami pa siyang mga iba pang kaso. Dapat ba, sir, hindi muna makapwesto yung mga ganong mga klase ng pulis, sir?
Hindi naman. Kasi nga, yung case niya is na case dismissed po. No? After he was investigated, na case dismissed, so wala namang kasong against sa kanya, so back to duty po siya. Kasi inimbestigahan siya. No? At hindi po napatunayan kung na siya talaga ang gumawa based on the documents. At ang nag-imbestiga po noon ay ang IAS. Okay? So, kung wala namang dahilan para i-relieve or i-detain at idismahan yung mga tao, maski may kaso pa naman siya, ay hindi po namin gagawin yon. We still observe due process sa procedural po namin dito. Kung may kaso na siya at na-penalize na siya, that's the time i-serve yung suspension, recall ng firearms, and relieve siya sa posisyon. Now, for this new case, very strong po yung evidence sa kanya, kaya nga na-detain na siya, na-disarmahan, at inisyuhan na po namin ng automatic leave of absence, no? Para po yung salary niya will be automatically cut po doon. Yun po yung ginawa po kaagad ng RD Pro 3.
Thank you, sir. Isa na lang po. Sir, dun sa Metro Manila, nagkasundo yung mga Metro Mayors na magkaroon ng total firecracker ban ngayong taon na to. Ano po ang directive nyo sa Metro Manila Police, sir?
Hinintay pa namin yung final resolution or ordinance or guidelines kung ba talagang total firecracker ban. No, we have ban pero not naman total. So that's why pinapresent ko kanina si FEO for their action. So narinig nyo naman yon. But if there are ordinances ng kanya-kanyang munisipyo or final directive na total talaga, talagang bawal na magbenta, mag-possess, ay panghulihin po lahat talaga yon. No? Sa ganun. Kasi ngayon may specific provisions naman. Okay? So we're been waiting for whatever resolution or ordinances or batas na magsasabi na total firearm ban. Lahat po yan ay ipapasalan natin yung nagbebenta at lahat po na may hawak ay re-recover at huhulihin po natin sila.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next is Mr. Alfred Dallison, People's Journal, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, nung Saturday po, medyo nagkaroon po ng apprehension ng mga Filipino-Chinese community, particularly yung mga big businessmen, dahil yung report na allegedly mag-i-impose na naman daw po ng ECQ sa Metro Manila. Anong masasabi niyo po dun, sir?
First, yung nag-circulate kasi sa media, no? Again, nag-circulate sa media na isang fake document, no? Na when we called it naman sa source, sa NCRPO, they deny it. So we let our PIO issue the statements na then we coordinated. Then we informed both the NITF, CSND, CSILG has already issued statement na wala po. Metro Manila will not revert to MECQ. Instructions given to us was to strictly enforce yung wearing of mask, shield, and social distancing. Tapos yung mga hindi authorized, kagaya ng mga bata, yung mga 15 years old below. So mandatory pa po yung hindi dapat pumunta sa mall or lumalabas. So ang ginagawa po natin, kaya kami nag-iikot, ay pinaalalahan po yung natin yung mga kababayan natin na ang guidelines ko, pag may nakita, pauwiin na lang. No? Pabalikin na lang sila sa bawat bahay nila para po hindi na po sila hulihin kasi mas lalong mag-complicate po yun pag hinuhuli natin lahat. So that is our agreement na pauwiin na lang sila, pahatid, pasakay sa sakyan nila para po hindi na sila tutuloy sa mga pupunta sa mga mall, sa mga palengke, ganun po. At mapansin nyo, pinaigting na rin namin yung mga social distancing namin. Ngayong araw, I think ngayong araw o kahapon, dineploy na rin namin yung isang kumpanya ng SAF doon sa Divisoria to augment the local police in police visibility at the same time implementing social distancing doon sa lugar na yun. Kasi yun palagi ang nami-mention na talagang sobrang daming tao po. Thank you, Fred.
Sir, sa Christmas, sir, sigurado yung mga bata hindi mapipigilang lumabas para mamasko sa mga ninong at ninang. Anong take niyo doon, sir?
Alam nyo, kung nagbabasa kayo doon sa Germany at saka sa Europe, pinapasara na nila yung mga stores nila na mga unrelated. So the more kasi nag-o-open yung mga malls natin, yung mga places of convergence, So talagang maraming gustong lumabas. However, we will be implementing kung ano po yung guidelines ng NIATF, no? So kung hanggang saan po ang directive, doon po kami. And we will not divert from that instruction para po hindi po tayo magkamali pag-implement ng iba't ibang direktiba.
Okay, sir. Let's proceed to...
Last-
Sir,
last
3
na lang.
questions lang po. Later na po,
Last-
sir. Thank you po.
Last na lang, sir. Kay General Casimiro lang, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
dito.
yung na-mention mo kanina yung mga procurements, yung G2G na ang na-mention mo lang Israel and China, pero hindi tayo makapunta dahil sa present situation. No mention whatsoever of the United States government, yung wala na ba tayong planong bumili talaga sa US?
Sir, we don't have any G2G with the People's Republic of China. Yung pong G2G natin is with the Ministry of Defense of Israel. As to the US, wala po tayong existing procurement with the United States dahil ayaw pong bigyan tayo ng export permit as to the procurement of firearms, magazine, and ammunition po. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you po. Ma'am Maris Sumali, GMA 7.
Sir, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sir. Mariz Umali po, GMA. Sir, what is the policy in bringing guns? Isn't it supposed to be a part of the uniform? When you're wearing a uniform, it is part of the uniform, the bringing of the gun. But when you're wearing a civilian, when you're wearing civilian clothes, is it right to be bringing along anywhere a gun when you're a policeman, especially when you're not involved in any covert operations?
First, the firearms is permanently issued to our people. Okay? Now, ang mga tao po namin ay 24/7 alert po yan. Anything, pwede sila mag-respond, pwede po sila mag-act kung mayroong tinatawag call of duty. Hindi po namin yan pagbabawalan yan. Now, if you're referring doon sa may paniki, always remember, bahay niya yun. Diba? So, pwede kang lumakad basta meron kang authorized supporting documents such as letter order, such as mission order. Okay? Now, maski hindi ka involved sa intel operations, you could still bring your firearms because it is issued for protection of the policeman. Now, kung sinabi mo na, sir, nangyari ng ganito, it's not the rule. It's just rather an exemption. So, ganun po yun. So, supposed to be, that's why we always remind our policemen to be wary and attentive. No? Kasi mapansin mo naman, pag ang policeman mayroong baril na ka-civilian, hindi naman po dinidisplay yan, madam.
In other words, sir, walang masama na dala-dala niya yung
Yes.
kanyang baril.
Tama ka po doon, ma'am.
Alright. Sir, kanina binanggit niyo na rin po to kay Leia, no? But just a follow-up. The fact that what's his name, Nuezca? Si Staff Sergeant na involved sa paniki. He has been involved in a lot of cases already, although it has been continuously dismissed. Ang mga cases po niya frequent. Hindi po ba 'tong mga red flags na kahit na sabihin natin laging nade-dismiss, the fact that he has always been involved in grave conduct cases, homicide pa to the extent of homicide. Tas parang sunod-sunod, kahit na nade-dismiss siya, aren't this red flags for the police leadership to really look into this person? Hindi general, but sa kanya mismo. Kasi
Yes.
umabot na nga sa ganitong punto.
Yes, we are also considering that one. Pero habang wala siyang case, that very instance at na-drop, therefore, he has the right to to bear firearms pa rin. Maski pa kasi, kaya nga pinaila ng kaso, nag-present siya ng ebidensya, nag-present siya ng defense, it was dropped. No? So, maski pa sabi mo, sir, sobrang daming kaso, he faced it naman squarely. That's why he presented facts, kaya nga na-drop yun So, okay. So, kung sabihin mo, minomonitor po yan ng commander. Alam ng commander yun Kaya nga, hindi yan basta-basta nilalagay ng mga specific or yung mga special trabaho lang talaga siya. I think, ang trabaho ata niya is nasa Soko. Tama ba ako, Steve?
Yes, sir. Magandang tanghali po, sir. Sir, kasama po siya, sir, sa ating programa, sir, na One Soko Team per City, sir.
Yes.
And he has just recently undergone a scene of the crime operations course na bahagi po siya doon sa programa ni Chief PNP when he was in NCRPO na matulungan ng crime lab para maaga pang makapagbigay serbisyo sa mga incidences na mga crime incidents. Yun po, sir, yung status ng tao po, sir.
Okay. Yun po, ma'am. Kasi nga, pagka na-drop na yung case, no, talaga yan. Ganun po talaga yon, no? Hindi po natin i-generalize kung may kaso yung tao, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-bear ng firearms.
Not just the firearms, sir. In fairness to him, nagpakita naman siya ng good moral character.
Yes,
despite the fact that he has been involved in different cases in the past. Base sa kanyang performance, meron siyang good moral character.
Yes, kasi galing siya ng NCRPO, Hipalugan. At napansin nyo, nag-surrender po siya. Hindi po siya tumakbo, nagtago, ganon. It shows character na siguro, nung bumaba yung galit niya, he surrendered. At hindi naman niya ngayon ma-deny yung case kasi nga na properly document naman. So he surrendered to, saka po police din namin. Hindi siya nag-surrender kung saan-saan. So that's already shows talaga na haharapin niya yung kasong ito.
Sorry, sir, just to follow up. Kanina, binabanggit kasi nung na-interview namin sa Panikitarlac na Chief of Police na meron din tungkol sa boga, which was probably one of the reasons kung bakit na-trigger ulit yung kaso tungkol dun sa right of way. Pero pwede lang pong paki-enlighten kami ano exactly yung issue tungkol dun sa right of way, gano'n na to katagal, and will this affect the case that will be filed against him, whether it's homicide or murder? Kasi kanina medyo parang iba-iba yung information that we are getting. We're not really sure whether it's murder that is going to be filed against him or homicide lang po. Will it affect, kasi kung halimbawa right of way at matagal na yung issue na yon, meron po bang magiging parang epekto dun sa kaso na kumbaga parang pinag-isipan na niya na gawin yung pagpatay or talagang parang naging outburst lang niya yung kanyang pagbaril lang dun sa dalawa?
Una-una, ma'am, we will let our investigator do their job. Hindi ko po sila pangunahan at hindi ko rin alam kung bakit niya nagawa yon. So we let the investigator do their job. Hintayin natin kung ano po yung ifa-file nila na kaso. I will not state any specific case kasi nga baka iba ang interpretations po ng mga investigator natin. So ang stand namin dito sa headquarters is we let the investigation go on and our investigator do their job. We'll just wait kung ano po i-file na kaso at ano po ang na-find out nilang kadahilanan kung bakit nagawa po yun ng personnel namin. Thank you.
Ms. Eunice Silerio, Filipino Mirror.
General, good afternoon. Follow-up question lang po regarding po kay Nuesca. Kanina po may nabanggit po kayo na anger management. Sa pagkakataon pong ito, magkakaroon po ba ng repressor ang mga pulis para nga po maging mataas nung antas nung pagmamanage nung emosyon para hindi na po maulit ito?
Yes, actually, kaya nga sabi ko nga kanina, kasi bago nagpunta kami doon sa sa inaugurations ng emergency health treatment, na doon yung neuropsychiatrist namin, na-discuss namin yon kung bakit may mga gano'n na insidente. Ang assessment ng neuropsychiatrist namin, sabi niya, sir, baka sa galit, kasi nga, nung sa galit, nagawa niyo yun kasi yung assessment niya as neuropsychiatrist, nakita ko, sir, mukhang nagalit yun, kaya ganun reaction eh. But nung bumaba na yung galit niya, he surrendered peacefully. So siguro, ang sabi niya, siguro we try to study, sir, na magawa tayo ng anger management, di ba? Try the possibility of informing our people on to manage their anger. No? Kasi pag outburst, biglang makagawa ng masamang bagay. So it's just it's first an assessment given by our psychiatrist based on that situation. But with that, gusto kong pag-aralan kung gagawa ba kami at kung paano gagawin ang module for anger management. Because it's a new concept na lalabas sa amin kung in case ituloy po namin yon.
Thank you, sir. Sa susunod ko pong question, pero pwede po kay General Corpus.
Go ahead.
General Corpus, kasi kanina na-discuss mo regarding sa mga puputok. How about naman ng muzzle taping? Kasi ang pagkakaalala ko, last year hindi tayo nagbusal ng mga baril. Paano po ngayong taon na to? Muzzle taping, yung pagbusal po ng baril.
Okay, Eunice, nagbigay na ng kautusan ng ating Chief PNP na hindi natin gagawin yun ngayong taon. Hindi rin natin gagawin yun ngayong taon. There will be no muzzle taping of the issued firearms and firearms owned by our PNP personnel.
So, bali po, ito po yung ikatlong taon na hindi magmamassal taping. Kasi ang pagkakalam ko po, 2018 and 2019, wala rin pong pagbubusal ng
Yes.
And based po dun sa sa mga incidents po noon, effective po ba?
Actually, it is effective. For the past 3 years that we did this, bumaba or halos wala na nga yung, I don't have the data, pero halos wala na nga nagpapaputok na mga membro ng kapulisan natin since we started doing this.
Okay. Sir, thank you. Isa na lang po para kay General Eleazar. Sir, good afternoon. Tanong ko lang po, dun po sa 355 na active case ng COVID patient, meron po bang delikado doon o may mga naka-intubate na?
Ang ating distribution, meron tayong nasa hospital at iba isolation facilities. 12 nasa hospital and 343 naman sa quarantine facility. May sumesenya sa ating Director Health Service, walang naka-intubate doon, bagamat meron tayong 12 na nasa hospital sa ngayon. Kaya nga tayo nagbukas din dito, itong ating emergency facility is para kumpleto na. Meron kasi tayo na pinagdadalhan nitong mga nag-positive na asymptomatic. Meron din tayo pinagdadalahan nitong mga close contacts na hindi naman sila positive pa. At ngayon naman, itong sakyangan natin ngayon, ito naman yung masasabi natin na nag-positive at meron mga symptoms or nakikita natin na vulnerable sa iba pang mga diseases. So, yan yung inopen kanina. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Next is Third Ann Malonzo, Sunstar. Ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Kay General Sinas, Chief, about Colonel Jiger Noceda, sir. Have you received the recommendation from the IAS na nire-recommend nila na i-dismiss na siya from service? Ito po yung si Colonel Noceda yung na-involved dun sa sexual harassment po ni Nova Parohinog, sir.
Ma'am, hindi ko lang nag-get, ma'am.
Si Colonel, ang IAS, sir, may recommendation na on the dismiss si Colonel Jiger Noceda, yung dating chief ng custodial, sir, na na-involve sa sexual harassment ni Nova Parahinog, sir. May decision na ba kayo or na-receive nyo na ba, sir, yung recommendation ng IAS po?
Actually, wala pa, no? Baka on route pa po yun. Kasi usually, yung IAS recommendation ay hindi naman po yung absolute. It will be processed, tatanggapin po ng DPRM namin, yung Directorate for Personnel and Records Management, ipaprocess po yan, i-evaluate at mag-opinion, then before it will go through up, passing the command group bago po sa akin. So kung meron man po yun, ay i-evaluate po yun at titingnan po namin yung recommendation ng IAS.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, next, Miss Joy Cantos from Filipino Star ngayon. Ma'am.
Good afternoon po, sir. Hindi ba ako makita? Sir, no less than vaccine, sir, Carlito Galvez Jr. said that the COVID vaccine will be available by the first quarter of 2021. Willing po ba kayong magpa-inject, sir, yung mga officers dito sa Karame? At ano po yung preference nyo, Sinovac from China or British AstraZeneca?
Una, we are reading ourselves because sa guidance po ni Presidente that the PNP will be the first to be vaccinated and one of the agency together with the AP to enforce the vaccine. On the question kung kaming mga pulis ay ready, that question remains to be everybody's mind. We will ask them on the actual date. Kung ang question mo ay ako, kung ready ko, no comment muna. Kung China, China, US, or Europe, lalong wala akong comment doon. Diba? Kasi hindi naman po kami involved sa processing po. So kung ano pong available at kinukuha ng presidente natin, ay susundin po namin, ma'am.
Sir, bali, yung mga priority pong mabaksin natin, sir, ng mga pulis, mayroon na po ba tayong pattern sa pag-vaccine, sir, sa kanila?
Ma'am, wala pa po. Inaalam pa po namin kung anong specific guidelines po. Diba? So, meron po yung mga guidelines kung sinong priority, ganon. So, we will wait. Pero on our part, we are already our plan because una niyan is continuing po yung awareness namin sa mga tao namin and to give them also the idea kung ano yung vaccine. Diba? Kasi dapat maintindihan din namin yung mga tao namin para once mag-roll out po ng vaccine sa PNP ay maintindihan nila. No? Ganun po ang gagawin natin doon. So, we'll be ready when the time comes po, ma'am.
Sir, with due regards sa red tagging, kasi yung doktora nga po dun sa Negros ay na red tag bago siya napatay. I just want to ask you from my standpoint, is that a brainiac policy, sir? Siyempre, with the specialized jargon ng PNP at saka maybe it's intelligence-driven, ano pong masasabi niyo, sir?
Again, tagging?
Yung red tagging po, sir, red tagging, is that a brainiac policy, sir, from my standpoint?
Hindi naman namin siya tinatag. We are not tagging them. That's the result of the investigation po, ma'am. We are not on the process of tagging. That's the result of this investigation ng PRO7, ng investigators namin. Kaya nga pinasent nila yon, diba? So, yun po yung facts gathered po.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, next, Mr. J. Mark Dagala, DWIZ. Sir?
Sir, good afternoon po.
Yes, sir.
Reiteration lang, sir, para lang ma-refresh yung minds ng ating ng public regarding dun sa December 26, which is the anniversary of CPP. Yung ano na po yung mga developments o kung may bago ho ba kayong mga instructions sa ating mga police units dahil wala naman tayong holiday truce, ine-expect po na posibleng may mga pag-atake muli silang gawin?
I will let our Director for Operations to answer that kasi nga nag-issue na siya ng statement kanina. Go ahead, Bok.
Yes, like what I've said a while ago, no, the President has said that there will be no suspension of police operations this year. So, ang inyong kapulisan po ay magpapatuloy na magkakandak ng police operations against all threat groups, no? And that includes, of course, the CPP, NPA, NDF, no? If you want the detailed instructions that we issued, we can just talk after this, and I can give you the detailed instructions on of what we issued down to our regional directors and down to our units. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Follow-up lang po. Regarding, hingi lang po sana din ako ng update regarding dun sa naging pag-atake po nung BIFF sa Maguindanao during the past. Baka may mga developments lang po.
Will it, Director for Investigation and Detective Management, go ahead, Marnie.
Magandang hapon po. Thank you, sir. Update po doon sa Datopi ang harassment case. Again, we have submitted already the Board of Inquiry report, and then another case was filed against those perpetrators. Yun yung Section 4 ng Anti-Terrorism Law. An added case to that incident. And then repairs were made already on those on the church. Tapos nadagdagan na rin ng personnel. There were 18 personnel who were assigned there to add the strength of the police station. And the DL also issued additional firearms, long firearms to Datopiang Police Station. Yun lang po.
Thank you po.
All right, next is Mark Makalalad, sir, from DZBB.
Good afternoon, Chief. Sir, nangyari yun broad daylight, tsaka in front of his child, yung pagpatay po ni Master Sergeant Noesco, doon po siya mag-ina. Ngayon po may public outrage kasi, sinasabi na buti na lang may video, dahil kung hindi, baka mamaya nakalusot po na naman yung police. So sir, ano ba ang encouragement natin sa mga tao kapag may ganong klaseng senaryo na nangyari? And most of the time kasi sir, di ba kapag may mga police, based also on my experience, they are afraid na may camera din na nakatutok kasi sa kanila. So ano ba yung dapat gawin pag may ganong klaseng sitwasyon? Advisable ba na kumuha talaga ng video to serve as evidence?
If you're meaning doon sa Paniki incident?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think nasa mga tao po yon, sa mga witness na kumuha. I will not advise, no? Because very tricky yon. Okay? Baka mamaya kumuha ka ng video, tapos mainit sa panahon, baka mababalingan ka. So, sa inyo po yon. If I might suggest, kung may mga ganong incident, we just witness at saka wag na tayong mag-interfere, lalo na pag armed and dangerous yung suspect or yung mga na-involve. So, kasi pag na-involve ka, baka mamaya ikaw na naman ang pagbabalingan. As to the taking of the picture, if you could get the picture malayo ka, unsafe, better po yon. That will help us solve the crime. No? Pero ingat ka na rin kasi na pag civilian ka na na kumuha. And it's very good kasi nga yun yung maging part of the evidence later on, no? So but ang akin lang ay mag-ingat lang at I will not encourage you na lalapit ka pa nga ganun. So just be careful kung ikaw kumuha, and later on help us solve the crime by showing us the video instead of having it post sa internet. Baka mamaya makuan pa, matatampered pa. Then show it officially to the investigators at mag-testify ka na ikaw ang kumuha at anong oras at anong equipment ang ginamit nyo. Kasi yun po ang requirement in order for the video to be accepted as an evidence later. So, yun po.
Sir, will the PNP provide financial assistance? Or if not, sir, ano yung tulong na maibibigay natin doon sa pamilya ng mga biktima?
I could not yet say kasi nga ihintayin ko muna yung investigations at siguro tutulong kami doon, no, sa pamilya. Hindi lang siguro, both sides na rin siguro, kasi para hindi na sila magatampuhan sa amin. Okay? We'll try to see kung anong financial assistance na maibigay namin doon.
Thank you, sir. All right. Finally, Ann Soberano, ma'am, from Bombo Radio.
General, buenos dias. Sir, sir, doon sa nabanggit nyo kanina na target nyong hinahanap nyo ngayon yung mga warehouse ng illegal drugs. Sir, may mga warehouses ba na mga malalaki na na-monitor ang PNP sa Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao?
No comment.
Okay, sir. Pero subject for operation na po yan ngayon, sir, ng Philippine National Police.
No comment.
Okay. Sige, sir. On the other issue, sir, follow-up ko lang ito, sir, sa question ko last week. Since nabanggit nyo na pumunta po kayo this weekend sa Zamboanga, sa Mindanao, sir, nakipag-meeting na po ba kayo kay Congressman Hataman regarding dun sa issue? And then, ano pong napag-usapan nyo? Nakita ko kasi yung mga pictures nyo sa Western Mindanao Command. Anong napag-usapan nyo with General Binlo and General?
Secret.
Pocket.
Okay. I have talked with Congressman Hataman kanina umaga. Then we trash out and we also observe sa request niya na okay naman siya. Actually, he's just expressed yung support at saka yung sa kanya talaga, nung naintindihan namin, yung request niya na pag wala namang basis talaga na okay sa kanya, hulihin may warrant eh. Ang basis na sabihin doon nagtago yung mga Abu Sayyaf sa Basilan. Kumbaga, marami na kasi siyang programa. Naintindihan namin. Kaya nga ngayon, ang agreement namin, manghuli kami, tapos kung wala man factual evidence na Abu Sayyaf siya, ay hindi namin banggitin at hindi namin sabihin na ang Basilan ang naging taguan. Nakanyo? Totoo naman po yun. Siguro nga, we'll just correct matters. Kakibat niyan ay pumunta po ako kay General Binluan, yung commander ng Western Mindanao Command, also to compare na pag may nag-surrender na, let's say, yung mga armed group doon sa kanila, ay konsultahin at informahin kami, lalo na yung regional director natin doon, at saka yung CIDG, para po magbigay po ng idea na kung isang tao nag-surrender at gusto niya i-clear yung name niya na hindi naman siya Abu Sayyaf, ay entertainin po natin. Pero dapat pag may warrant of arrest, i-serve po natin yung warrant of arrest. Kung ano po yung case niya dyan, for example, case niya is murder, murder lang. Yung agreed na namin. Hindi na dadagdagan na murder tapos sabihin Abu Sayyaf. Kung wala naman talagang factual basis na member po siya ng Abu Sayyaf. Yun yung agreement namin. So, we will restrain also our PR group na to just state what is the facts of the case na lang. So, yun po yung agreement po namin para po hindi po magkatampuhan. Kasi makita nyo, pag tama rin naman si Congressman Hataman na pagpalagi na natin sabihin na doon sa Basilan yung mga nahuling ganun at wala namang basis, ay parang sabi niya, parang na-red tag na rin yung Basilan na yun talaga ang taguan ng Abu Sayyaf na marami naman siya magagandang programa doon na pinakita rin sa amin and we supported with that program. Maski pa hindi pa ako ng CPNP, sinuportahan na po ng PNP yun. Kaya sabi ko, ipagpatuloy na lang namin ugnayan at suporta namin sa programa ng local government po.
Sir, lastly, general assessment, sir, sa Western Mindanao in terms of security, sir, at may mga threats ba tayong natanggap this holiday season?
Now, the threat assessment at declarations po ng terrorism assessment ay reserve po yun sa NICA. We just observe it. So, actually, nasa general alert kami dahil Christmas at baka kami mag-take advantage of the situation. So, ang mga kasama natin doon, ang buong Mindanao, lalo na Zamboanga City, at saka yung ARM, ay still implementing full alert. After that Piang incident, they are very alert and we supported and reinforced all our stations there para po hindi po maisahan or hindi po basta-basta ma-raid. Second, as to the part of Zamboanga and Basilan, I think the effort of the local government and the security forces, the PNP and AP are closely, close contact, kaya medyo effective yon. And we're hoping na sana matapos yung taon na walang major incident na mangyayari. No? And at least I think that's the general assessment doon sa lugar na yon.
Maraming salamat, General.
Okay, I guess, unless there are a few more questions. Yes, ma'am, please. Ma'am Maris.
Sir, since we're talking about mga possible security threats, meron din po ba sa Metro Manila, or the fact that you've added one company of SAF in in Manila area, specifically in Divisorias, because of the difficulty lang po of the situation there, wherein people are difficult to, parang the people do not really follow the health protocols? Is it just primarily that, or are we also monitoring some security threat situations in Metro Manila?
Again, based on our coordination and report we received from NICA, ang threat po natin is yung general threat assessment lang talaga na because we'll be alert, we'll be target, but as to the imminent threat, kung meron ba talaga, wala po kaming natanggap as of now. We deploy staff, just an additional augmentation force for police visibility and reminding. Kasi kumbaga, na-stretch na rin yung NCRPO. So since SAP is one of our active mobile force, kaya in-augment po natin yon. Yun lang naman ay ang usapan namin after matapos yung holidays, yung Christmas and New Year at mag-normalize ulit tayo, then we will pull out the SAP doon.
Are we seeing changes after po na nilagay natin yung SAF doon sa area? Mas sumusunod na ba ang mga tao ngayon when it comes to following the health protocols? Kasi several days we've been covering there and we always see those people, even if the policemen are in front of them announcing all the health protocols, wala silang pakialam, nakababa pa rin yung mask, nasa likod or nasa head pa rin yung face shield. Upon putting the SAF there, nag-iba po ba ang sitwasyon, mas sumusunod na mga tao?
I could not categorically say yes dyan kasi wala pa namang feedback sa akin, but we are hoping that with the presence of SAF, they will see that the PNP really mean business in reminding them to wear their mask properly and shield properly. I could not answer kasi parang 1 day or 2 days pa lang po sila, ma'am. But later on siguro in our next presentation, I can give you a categorical answer po doon.
Right, that I guess concludes this press corps day, and we shall now have the final words coming from the CPNP.
Okay. Bok, may sabihin ka pa? Wala na? So meron pang sasabihin. Dahil nandito kayo, nag-attend kayo ng press con live, part of our awareness to help you also, we'll give you 2 pieces ng copper mask. Diba? So ito po, isang mask, tapos merong atang 20 na leaf para pwede po siya gamitin. No? So each one of you, including po yung cameraman natin at kasama nyo, ay bibigyan po namin tagdadalawa para po magamit nyo po. So, hindi po to fake, di ba? Hindi to fake, di ba? Maganda ng balot eh. Di ba? Balot pa lang, mahal na. Di ba? Di ba? Hindi po to raid. Kunan to, dinonate to sa kaibigan natin. I think, Rodel, nandyan po yung donors. Papuntahin natin dito. Yan. Nasaan na yung donors? Yan. Please come. Diba? Para po mabigyan namin kayo. Yan. So, habang nagpipicture taking tayo, yung personnel natin, Rodel, pakibigyan na po natin lahat po ng mga kaibigan natin ng 2 set para po makuhan. Rodel, sa pangalan nito?
Sir, our donor is Sir James Kumar, Board of Director of VACC and the President of the Filipino Indian Commerce and Welfare Association. They actually have been supporting the PNP since the start of the pandemic during the time of General Archie Gamboa. Nagdodonate po sila ng mga relief goods at continuous po nilang ginagawa ito.
Thank you, Rodel. For that matters, all personnel inside the hall, including PNP, will be given 2 sets para lahat po tayo, hindi lang po yung media ang bibigyan. Thank you very much. So, mag-picture taking tayo, and that ends our press conference. Thank you, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year to all. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Maraming pong salamat. God bless all of you.